Hey everybody, welcome to the MMA Heat podcast. I'm Karyn Bryant.
What's up, everyone? Alan Jouban with you.
So, big fun weekend I had. How was your weekend now? Was it good?
Well, I definitely wasn't working sideline NFL games, Miss Karyn Bryant.
I mean, la-di-da. No, listen, it's funny
Yeah.
because I am a little tired. Like I had a long, a long weekend, came back got in late last night because there's no direct flights to Jacksonville. So I got in kind of late and got up today, and we had a media lunch with Michelle Waterson. But yeah, I worked the Jaguars-Jets game this past weekend, and it was a great game. But
Yeah.
I swear to you, Alan, and I don't complain about being hot, like almost ever, like never.
Yeah. You like the heat. You
I
like the
do.
warmth.
I do. I don't know if I've ever been hotter in my life than standing on that sideline of that game. It was unbelievable, because it's the humidity. You know what I mean? It's like what they say: if it's not the heat, it's the humidity. And I wanted to look nice and like have my hair down because you don't want to just be in a ponytail. You're doing. I thought I was gonna I was dripping sweat. I had a towel that I'm sitting on the side. Like I don't even care who sees this. Like I would stick my hand up my shirt and like towel down, like every now and then because I just feel sweat pouring off of me. And later on during when I got on the plane later, there was like salt all over me from like just coming out of my thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, and meanwhile I'm just standing there like talking. So God bless these players out there playing in that. But it was so much fun. It's such a cool thing. So I shared on my social media, like I did a post-game interview with Blake Bortles, the quarterback, and Calais Campbell, one of the defensive ends from the Jags, both really cool guys. And let me tell you, I mean, I love me some heavyweights, right? Because I'm 5'8", Alan. I'm not a small woman. I'm not a petite woman.
Yeah.
This dude, Calais Campbell, made me feel so little. I was like, I love
really?
this. This guy he's gigantic, right? And he's like,
Huge man.
so nice. But I'm sitting there doing this. He was like, this is a giant man. This is a giant man. But so much fun. So after the Conor fight this weekend, Conor Khabib, I have another game in Atlanta the following weekend, and I'm loving it. So fun.
Yeah. No, it's cool. And I'm familiar with that humidity. I mean, growing up in Louisiana, I played soccer year round, and it would just hit you, and it would just take everything out of you. But on the plus side of that, Karyn, you seem to have, a pretty good glow today. That humidity is good for the it exfoliates the skin.
It is.
So it's a natural exfoliation.
It is. It's good for the skin. No, I was joking that it was like you want to take pictures of your abs after because like you drop water weight. You know what I mean? You're like, I'm shredded
That's
right
it.
now.
That's
But
it.
yeah, it was cool. So I have to thank the people in Jacksonville for their hospitality. They were great. Really, really great. But so that meant, of course, that I was watching the fights in a hotel room, the Bellator fights and stuff, which is always tricky to watch fights in a hotel room. I scream at the TV, I yell some things, and I'm always concerned that the people next to me are going to freak out and wonder what's going on. And of course, I also haven't watched fights on the East Coast in a long time. And it's late. You know what I mean? And so I'm sitting there screaming, but I actually enjoyed the event. It had, I thought, a really good feel to it, great fights. We can start with the Gegard Rory fight. I thought Gegard would win just being, for a lot of reasons. He's bigger. He's the middleweight champion. Rory's coming up in weight. I just think that Gegard's skill set is too good. But I expected more from Rory, if I'm being honest. And he put that post out saying he kind of froze up, and that really surprised me. Were you surprised by that?
That's not a harsh assessment by any means because we both thought Mousasi would win because of those things that you listed with the size and the reach and everything and a skill set, to be honest. I think that Rory is a very skilled fighter, but I kind of see Mousasi as a similar skill set fighter with even more experience. They both have a tremendous – Rory has a ton of fights, but Mousasi's on like his 50th fight now. And, when it comes to just staying in the pocket with a jab, he's known for that. And Rory has a tremendous jab, but now you're taking a guy with a longer reach and a taller height advantage and a 10 to 15-pound reach advantage. And equate that, and it's not looking good for Rory. But, yeah, I thought that we might see a little more out of Rory. I was kind of surprised, to be honest, when he started, going for the like De La Riva roll takedowns, I feel like when people go to that's a Hail Mary. That's going for broke, trying to be tricky because when it fails, if it fails, you're on your back. And even though Rory's confident off his back, you have now a bigger middleweight on top of you who's a tremendous grappler by his own means. So it wasn't the best fight out of Rory, but I feel like the best Rory, if the best Rory would have showed up, it would have still been a similar outcome, but maybe gone longer, but a similar outcome.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing, is you don't want to invite Gegard in to ground and pound you finish. That's the last thing you want to do. So yeah, I agree. I was like, well, that did look like a desperation move. And to me, it just seemed, like Rory just, that whole paralysis by analysis, right? That it just seemed like he was standing there like trying to figure things out, trying to get the timing. Actually, it's funny because just a few minutes ago, I heard back from Gegard because, hey, congratulations. I'd sent him a message and I was traveling and all stuff. So he wrote me back and he said, oh, thanks so much. And this, and I said, he said he felt bad for Rory. And I said, oh, what do you mean? I said, because he said he's a really nice guy. He's a really great guy. Yeah. And I said, oh, yeah, no, he is. I really like Rory, but I'm glad that you won. But even Gegard said, he's like, he just wasn't ready for my jab. He's like, I just was too fast for him. And he just didn't have an answer, which really, that's exactly what it seemed like.
That's interesting that was Gegard's assessment, that he just wasn't ready for the jab because, they're well-trained. Rory's well-trained. Yep. And Faraz Sahabi is known for breaking down opponents, breaking down footage. I remember when I think it was Rory McDonald, he fought, I can't think if it was Jake Ellenberger or someone else, but what I'm getting at is I remember before the fight they were showing the pad work, and Rory McDonald, Faraz Sahabi, Rory McDonald's trainer, had the little tiny mitts. Sometimes they make little hand mitts that are like this big, and it's like precision striking. We're not trying to knock your head off. Right. It's just bop, 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 little minute little changes, and it's all about being sharp. And that's how Rory was warming up. Bop, 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 everything tight. And then they cut to the other dressing room, and I can't remember if it was Jake Ellenberger or somebody else, but they had the big mitts on, and they were boom, and they were just wailing away. And it really set the premise of how the fight took place that night. Rory just had that sharp jab. Everything was precise, slick head movements, and the other fighter, whoever it was just more going for broke and missing. So I thought what I'm getting at is going into that and being such a good coach who breaks down footage, such a smart fighter as Rory is, we would have seen some type of counter to Mousasi's jab. Yeah. But it's like he said, he just froze up. He didn't have a good night. Yeah. Sometimes he said it in a statement. You have off night in fighting, you pay a big price, and he paid a big price that night.
Yeah, it just sucks because that's the type of thing where I feel like Rory, I mean, I don't know. I know a lot of fighters have that 24-hour rule where they can only, be sad and feel bad for themselves for 24 hours and then move on. But I got to feel like this is going to haunt him for a little while. There was so much buildup to it. It was champion versus champion. This was like, one of the biggest cards for Bellator. They launched it on a new app and everything. There was so much going into it. And I feel like that had more eyeballs. I don't know all the numbers, but I feel like that was, one of the biggest, best events they put on. And I feel like he's going to just be really bummed out and mad at himself, for not being able to deliver when he needed to. Because, like I said, I expected such a great fight from them. And everybody knows how good Rory is. You know what I mean? And I was like, oh, man. I did feel bad for him, too. But at the same time, I was like, well, at least it didn't go really, really long. Like, I'm glad neither guy, went through a war and got hurt. But at the same time, I was like, man, I really wish Rory could have shown a little bit more. Because we all know he has a lot more to give.
Right. If it would have been a little bit more of a competitive fight and he still lost, we wouldn't have looked at it the same way. It would have been like one guy had to win, the bigger guy naturally should win. Yeah. But we didn't really think Mousasi was going to kind of walk through Rory the way that he did. But looking back at it, this happens to a lot of guys. You see a lot of guys become champions in certain divisions, and right away they're talking super fights, they're talking about being the best ever. I get it. When you come off of a win, you just want to ride that momentum. You've got so much excitement and confidence in you. Right away, he wants to do the super fight at middleweight. Wasn't a great fight for him. Wasn't a good matchup in my eyes either. And now he's got to go back and fight in the middle in the welterweight tournament and rather quick timing. Am I wrong? Is it coming up?
It is, it's not too far away, and he's got to get right back in. I mean, in a way, that could be the best thing for him is to get a quicker turnaround and just shake this off and put it in the rearview mirror. But I feel at the same thing. Now, does that give you any hesitancy? Does that mess with your confidence when you go back, even though it's your right weight class, or will that make all the difference?
I tell you what, if I'm John Fitch and I'm on the other side of that
Yeah.
ring and I'm the one facing him, this did a world of confidence for me because my opponent, who I'm about to fight, just came off of a beatdown.
Yep.
And it came from a position that John Fitch is looking to be.
Right.
He's looking to be the guy in top position, laying ground and pound. So this wasn't a great move for Rory, and I'm not trying to kick a guy when he's down, but I didn't like the matchup from the get-go. And then having this fight before you fight a guy like John Fitch, the way that it ended, just not great for Rory. But we're going to see him come back. He's a tremendous fighter. He's one of the elite guys in the world. He's shown that. One thing that I was kind of surprised about, though, Karyn, is I don't want to say surprised, but Rory has a tremendous following, tremendous followers online, and people that have a great respect for him. And I don't want to say I'm surprised by that, but I commented on a couple social media sites about who's going to win this fight.
Right.
And I just kind of gave my quick analysis. I said, the very similar fighters, very similar skill sets, but now you add 15 pounds, height, and reach, and more fights, he's going to not looking good for Rory. And I was surprised how many people argued that topic, that Rory was going to be too much for Mousasi. And I get it. I'm not trying to say like the pros knew it or this or that.
Yeah.
But I was just really surprised that the general fight fan really believed that Rory had something that Mousasi had never seen before. And although, like we're saying, we both have tremendous respect for Rory, he's a similar Mousasi. Mousasi's just bigger and a little bit better. So it was a tough fight.
Yeah, I mean, and anybody who knows me knows that, Gegard is one of my all-time best buddies in the game, one of my all-time favorites. And for years, forever and ever, I've always known how good he was and figured he could be a champion and all that, given the opportunities. And, for so long, he kind of flew under the radar. He didn't get the marquee matchups and all that. And so it's funny to me that, like, some people are just waking up to the fact of how good he is. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, how did you not notice this for the last 10 years that he's been destroying people? Like, how are you just figuring this out? I mean, granted, against Uriah Hall, that was, Uriah can get that. He can get that kind of knockout on somebody. He lost to Lyoto Machida, who I believe that if they do have a rematch in Bellator, I see Gegard winning that fight, and I'm a huge Machida fan. But I think Gegard would beat Machida the second time around. And he lost to H.E.A.T or something. And that was a night where actually Gegard had a Rory situation when he told me after, he's like, I got in there. He's like, I was not in the mood. I just was not in the mood to fight that night. But other than that, he's put everybody, he's won every fight. And he was on a 7-fight winning streak going into this. Like, I just don't understand how people haven't figured that out yet, that he's that good.
And you know what? I think you hit the nail on the head, Karyn. I think it wasn't so much that people... I was thinking, I can't believe how much faith people have in Rory against such a tough opponent. But I think what it was, like you're saying, people didn't really know Mousasi as well as others might have known him. And I think that's what it was. Because what I'm getting at is 70% of the people who kind of commented on my comment were saying, dude, Rory's going to smash him. And I'm kind of like, really? You think he's going to smash Mousasi? And then one after another. And so I was just shocked. I was almost thinking, what am I missing here? What am I missing? But it went down kind of as we thought. I'm not just trying to say like we were right. It just shocked me, the support. And again, I think it might just be some people aren't as familiar with the skill set that Mousasi has. He's a very tough guy. He's fought in every weight division. Speaking of Lyoto Machida, I thought it was kind of funny that at the end of the fight, Mousasi said he kind of threw a jab in there. He said, after some heavy testing, maybe me and Lyoto could fight again. So Mousasi's been a lot more vocal now with his career, and I'm enjoying it. I thought it was a funny little jab that he threw out there.
Yeah, it was. When I was actually at that fight, it was in Jaraguá, Brazil, when Gegard fought Lyoto, and it was a very close fight, but Lyoto did win. And, it's questionable sometimes when people say Brazilians get a hometown, win in Brazil. And I do remember at first Gegard didn't say anything about it, but as the time passed, he did say he thought Lyoto had greased. And also, that he was like, I don't know that I've seen him look that physically fit in a long time at this age. Whatever. Like we said, whenever Gegard gets into that stuff about Lyoto, I just let him say what he has to say. Like I said, I'm a huge Machida fan. But everything equal, I feel like, now Gegard is still, he's still young. You know what I mean? Even though he's got all those miles on him, I don't think anybody over Bellator beats him. Sorry.
I don't think so either. And that's one thing about Bellator is that some of the guys there, they go on to be champions and they dominate because they have a couple big names, but it's not a consistent 1 through 15 of competition. It's 1 or 2 guys, and if they're able to overcome those guys, there's not a substantial amount of guys. The only division I really see that's kind of getting more stacked is the welterweight division, which we're going to see how it plays out. I mean, the winner of that might be getting I assume from looking at what's going on, the whole 50 Cent's giving away $1 million to I assume Bellator is now paying 50 Cent to promote it because, like, 50 Cent's all up in the Bellator. Now 50 Cent saying, I'm going to give him $1 million of my own money. So Bellator is really reaching for the social media demographic to sell the product a lot more. Is that what's going on? Am I reading that correctly?
Yeah, no, you're right. And because the other thing that was weird about that is, there's rumors about how Fitty doesn't have any money left anymore. And then we were like, where's he coming up with the cash? Like, obviously, there's some cross-promotion thing going on. And then also, I mean, because didn't Fitty called out Chael or something, or Chael was talking about beating up 50 Cent, but then also I think Quentin said something after his win too, right? Because I didn't get to see that whole bit, but I saw something online that said that Rampage was calling out 50 Cent next too, and I was like, what? It
was weird. The whole thing confused me, but I love how Rampage Jackson, he's an older Rampage Jackson, Karyn Bryant.
Yes, he is.
He's settled down. He's not this wild beast, untamed guy. He's kind of settled down with maturity and with age.
Yeah.
And all it took was a free bottle of champagne from 50 Cent. And Rampage is like, beef is squash. He's like, I was mad at him, but then he gave me a free bottle, so I'm cool. That's all the beef was a bottle of champagne. So
that's so funny.
It's funny how he is. And then he wanted to squash the beef with Wanderlei as well. Right. So I like the older Quentin.
Yeah. Well, I always love Rampage. And so he had me screaming. Oh, that sounds weird. If I say Rampage had me screaming in my hotel room, that's going to be taken way out of context and sound totally terrible. That's not what I mean. But I mean, I was watching the fight, screaming at the TV. And when he threw a kick, I was like, oh my God, like what? Yeah. Like, because it was sort of funny going into the fight. I don't know if you noticed at weigh-ins, stare-downs. Quentin hadn't taken his shirt off or anything. Wanderlei was kind of flexing more for stuff. And I didn't know if Quentin, what kind of shape he was going to be in. And definitely, he looked like a heavyweight Quentin. But once he got out there, I thought he did show some new wrinkles in his game, which I hadn't seen. But he literally threw a kick, and I was like, what is that? What is that? Like, I was glad to see it, And I know people were giving those two a lot of grief and like this old man fight. I enjoyed it. I didn't think it was a bad fight. Now, I don't necessarily need to see a fifth one, but I enjoyed it.
So it's a weird assessment because I heard from some people, they were like, they looked bad. But then in my eyes, they don't look like the 25-year-olds anymore. But they still have that offensive kill. Like, they all still, like, when they got in the pocket and they exchanged, they were still, like, looking to put each other's lights out. And they still had that capability. They don't have the footwork, the head movement, the gas tank, the quickness anymore. But they still have the means to put you to sleep at any point. The thing that shocked me the most about the fight was how well they kept their chins over time. These guys have been in so many wars, been knocked out so many times each, been fighting for so long. And they were taking each other's best shots over and over. And I was like, man, these guys are, like for, at this age, this many fights under your belt, you think one of them would have been asleep right away. But they were taking these shots and throwing punches. That shocked me that they held their chins that long.
Yeah, I agree. Because like you said, right, when they were in the pocket, they were each landing on each other. And there was one or two exchanges where either of them could have gone down. You know what I mean? Right. They were given as good as they were getting. And there was a couple of really tight exchanges there. But yeah, I don't know how much longer Quentin wants to fight it. I think afterwards Wanderlei said that, he's not done now and could still keep going. And I don't know if that's one of those things where, commissions start to not get excited about, clearing older guys. Yeah. I don't really know how that's going to work. There's a part of me that's like, look, as long as this person wants to fight and make a living, go for it. it's just that the matchups are going to have to be important, because you can't put a young killer in there against one of these guys. Like you said, they don't move as quickly as they used to, and that kind of thing. But I was happy to see Rampage, get a win and be able to show off more of his tools and his arsenal. Like I feel that fight with Chael, that wasn't great, and Quentin hates to get wrestled, so I was happy to see somebody that didn't wrestle him. Obviously, and that's not a dig on Chael. Like, you want to win a fight, you go with how you can win a fight. So that's not a dig on Chael. I'm just saying, you want to see Rampage throw down. Come on, that's all we really want to see.
And Rampage spoke on that. Like, he was being interviewed by Chael.
Yeah.
And like, they asked him a question. Did you like show up more for this fight than your other fights? And he was like, pretty much like, yeah. Like, look, when I fought Chael, I wasn't like scared or nothing. I was just relaxed. Like, what's he gonna do? Wrestle me? But I know when I go in there with a guy like Wanderlei, like, look, I could get knocked out. And he's like, it's not the knock. His thoughts exactly is how mine are. It's like, when you fight a guy who's trying to take your head off, it's not really the thought of getting knocked out, but it's just the thought of the embarrassment, the failure, the letting everyone down because you're unconscious on the mat. If you lose a fight because some guy grinded you out, it's not really scary. And so he was saying that he's up for those type of fights. Those type of fights of Wanderlei, the bad blood, the somebody trying to put him to sleep and embarrass him, that's when he comes alive. That's when we see Quentin at his best, and we saw it again that night at his best for that age.
Yeah.
I don't know, Karyn, did you see this interview? I saw an interview recently of Wanderlei Silva, and they asked him, Wanderlei, you said somewhere that you were getting paid $1 million for this fight. Is that true? And he's like, yes, $1 million. That's what I'm getting paid. And they go, so you're getting paid for this $1 million for this fight? And he goes, yes. And after this fight, I want another fight. So that's when I was doing this, because I heard Wanderlei said it 3 or 4 times. He got paid $1 million for this fight. Wow. So I assume if Wanderlei got $1 million, I'm assuming Quentin, who's probably a bigger name, got a million as well. And I assume that's why Quentin was so happy, drinking champagne, befriending everybody. He just made $1 million. And I assume also that's why Wanderlei wants the 5th fight, because he said this is a matchup that he's fine with. It's something that sells.
Right.
And if we're both getting paid $1 million, then why not? But I don't know if that's true. That's what Wanderlei said. Wanderlei was super serious. I don't know why he would lie about it. But it shows you that there must be some money floating around in the market at Bellator, and that's why they're making all these different super fights, and people are willing to take whatever fight sells because they're getting paid.
Yeah, maybe with the new the new DAZN or whatever, which, by the way, I don't think I'll be keeping DAZN necessarily.
The next morning, I canceled it, but it was not easy. I emailed them. It says my subscription is canceled, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, check your thing. Yeah, I feel like a lot of people are going to do that because I don't know how consistently they're going to be able to put big, great cards like that. I want to get into the UFC 229 stuff, but, like Aaron Pico had a great fight. Kerry Melendez had a great fight. The Diego Lima fight was tough. There was a good card.
Dream Killer Bolanos, the guy at the CSA gym, man, he just keeps making highlight reel after highlight reel over there in Bellator. So congrats to him. Awesome.
All right, so today, like I said, I had a media lunch with Michelle Waterson, the Karate H.E.A.T. She's adorable. She's adorable. And so she's fighting Felice Herrig on Saturday. So we were talking about that. If you guys want to check it out, it's on my Karyn Bryant YouTube channel. It's on MMAHeat.com and all that. So she was talking about fighting Felice and how she's going to deal with the fact that Felice is a bigger, sort of more physical girl. She talks about breaking her losing streak against Courtney Casey, and talks about the division, who she thinks should be next for a title fight with Rose, and talks about Tatiana Suarez coming up and stuff. So it's definitely a good Q&A, and lots of eye candy. She looks adorable, and she talks about that video with Holly. The one where they were dancing.
Oh, I know.
Oh, I know. She said she got like over 20,000 new followers just based on that video.
Well, it was shared through all the media platforms. I saw even the LeBron James's site, Undisputed or whatever. Right. They shared it.
It's adorable.
I tell you what, she probably went to Holly and she was like, Holly, I've got the best. All you have to do is learn this dance, put on some booty shorts. I'm telling you, we're going to blow up. And it was genius. Everybody loved it. They danced well. They got followers. Everybody won. They
killed it. I love it. It's great. So main event, obviously. The champ Khabib versus Conor McGregor. Do you think, Alan Jouban, do you think it's as simple as Khabib by ground and pound or Conor by knockout? Is that the only two ways? Are those the only two ways that fight can end?
That is the only two ways that this fight is going to go down.
Yeah.
We could break down all the small micro fights that are going to happen within that. But Conor's only chance, and look how I'm setting this up. Conor's only chance. Does that tell you where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
Conor's only chance is to do a knockout early, I believe.
Yeah.
Khabib just has the gas tank and the ground and pound advantage. I feel like we're replaying the Rory McDonald thing where they're like, "What are you, crazy?" Conor McGregor, and I say this all the time, he's got that X factor.
Yep.
He's got that thing about him that's very rare. Some people show up in the gym. Some people show up on fight night.
Yeah.
Conor McGregor shows up on fight night, 100%.
Absolutely.
But Khabib, we could talk numbers, never lost a round, never lost a fight all day long. He will take Conor McGregor down. Chad Mendes was a lot smaller than Conor McGregor and not as good of a grappler as as Khabib. And Chad Mendes was able to have success and cut Conor McGregor hurt. He wasn't big enough and strong enough to keep Conor down. Conor has good core strength. He's a built guy. He's bigger than Chad. He was able to find his way to his feet. I don't think he finds his way to his feet with Khabib. And I think the more that he tries to get up and take it down, get up and take it down, it's going to wear on him. And we know that Khabib is not going to wear down.
Yeah, I will say this. In that fight with Chad, Conor's knee was trash. I believe that was the one where he had a bunch of knee problems and everything. And so that could be why his takedown defense wasn't as good.
Okay.
But I agree with you. If Chad could take him down, obviously Khabib can. Now, then you also add in how much time has elapsed. How much better, has Conor gotten at takedown defense? How much better has Conor gotten at doing something off his back? I mean, we don't really ever see Conor throwing up triangles and stuff. It's not like I expect to see that.
No.
But I do wonder, what his skill set is going to be, how much it's evolved into getting back up. But I agree with you. Like, it's that, I just feel like it's that whole thing of, when you guys talk about taking somebody into the deep water and just drowning them. And like Khabib could just potentially drown Conor for 5 rounds and even if he never finished him, because I do think Conor's a tough ass dude, he and Nate went for it. And I think he can handle so much. But I'll be curious to see if that happens, if it plays out that Khabib just repeatedly takes him down and wails on him, like how he'll survive that. But that said, Al Iaquinta is a good boxer, and Al Iaquinta was tagging Khabib on the feet. I mean, I know it's a different fight. Khabib felt, I guess, more comfortable and was okay to trade with Al. I don't know if he'll do that with Conor. So Conor definitely has a lot of chances for knockouts. I mean, if you can time it when Khabib is shooting, you can. I feel like there's a lot of opportunities that Conor is going to have. He is so fast. He is, he's got the left hand angle going for him instead. He's got, like you said, that X factor just showing up at night. And we don't know how many Russians will be there versus how many Irish. Like, I was literally joking. They should have sold the tickets, like for a wedding, like groom side, bride side. Like, it would have been funny if they had done like Khabib's side, Conor's side.
Like a red and a green ticket.
Right. Like, I am curious to see how the crowd is going to be and who can react. I mean, nobody has gotten under Khabib's head before. I personally thought at that press conference when it was just the two of them without the crowd, I actually do think Khabib was bothered by Conor. And I think that Conor mentally jabbing at him did bother him a little. And so leading up to this, it could get even worse. And I'd be curious to see how Khabib responds because we've never seen him sort of mentally crack. And I wonder if that could be a factor.
Yeah. This is one of those fights, Karyn, that we could just talk about forever. And you just don't know what's going to happen because we talk about the smallest things. Who's going to show up that night? Who doesn't show up that night? There's a punch just miss and there's a punch land on the button. I feel like when calling this fight, when betting on this fight, when saying who you think is going to win, you have to go with the more safe bet. And I don't mean just because he's a wrestler.
Right.
I mean in terms of this is the facts. These are the numbers.
Yeah.
Khabib wins every match. He wins every takedown. He has never gotten tired. He has never lost a round or a fight. He has never not been able to take somebody down. And when they get taken down, if they get up, he takes them back down. He does not get tired.
Right.
He is the best ground and pound cardio damage I've ever seen. I say damage. Some people do harder damage, but consistent pressure and damage that I've ever seen. Those are all facts. The speculation, on the other hand, Conor, I could give facts about Conor. Tremendous power, one of the best accurate strikers who's ever seen. When it comes to timing, hitting somebody while they're in mid-punch, he's one of the best I've ever seen. He's got the X factor. Yeah. But what I'm getting at is Khabib has more safe factorial facts about him than Conor. Yeah. Conor has, will he be that X factor on that night? But you can't always rely on X factor when you have a guy that is consistently laying down groundwork all the time. So that's why I had to side with him. It's not, so it is as simple as, is it the ground of Khabib or the punch of Conor? It is as simple as that will be the fight. That's how the fight will win. One will win in that way. But I feel like it's more Khabib does this consistently nonstop. Conor shows up, but he can lose. He can get hit. He can get taken down. He just has that special X factor about him that makes him special. But special doesn't always beat consistency.
Agreed. But with all of that said, every time you don't think Conor's going to pull something off, he actually pulls it off. Like, okay, I didn't think he was going to beat Floyd, and he didn't beat Floyd. But he did better in that fight than, a lot of people thought or whatever. But just like every other time you've doubted Conor, most of the time he pulls it off. Do you know what I mean? And so that's the thing about him is the guys, I described him the other day as like a golden unicorn. You know what I mean? It's like you don't get that with the ability to talk, the ability to back it up with a fight, just all that other stuff. Yeah. So it's like situations like this, it's these kind of perfect storms, these uphill battles that like he somehow finds a way to like do it. You know what I mean? Like Jose Aldo, come on, the dude hadn't lost in 10 years or something like that, and he comes out and beats him in one punch. Like what? Yeah. I didn't think it's just I really, really, really don't know, but I do see a world where Conor knocks Khabib out. I do see it.
Yeah, it's definitely a possibility. Like I said, I just feel like the consistency that Khabib lays down is a larger percentage than the possibility of Conor landing that punch. And that punch could absolutely land. But in my eyes, it's like a 70-30. 70% of the chance Khabib's going to get there, 30% chance that he lands that punch. Let me just say this. I have never bet against Conor except for in boxing and Mayweather, but that was a joke.
Yeah, come on.
But and he did really well. Yeah. But or better than we thought. Yeah. But yeah, there was no way that I was going to say Conor's going to win that fight. There was not. I would have bet everything in the world. But in MMA, I don't think I've ever saw Conor as an underdog. Right. Even against Jose Aldo, I said this is an intriguing fight. But I still always, I believe, had Conor winning. This fight, I do not have a winning. To me, Karyn, the thing that I'm going to be like the most excited or nervous about is that nervous energy in between. Because look, Conor, I could see him having a really wide stance and really using flashy movement to kind of just keep Khabib at bay. Right. Little feints, little here, little oblique kicks to the knees, feints. And what I'm curious to see is Khabib going to rush into danger and possibly play with the margin of getting caught? Or is he going to try to punch, find an opening? Because I feel like the first round, when that nervous energy is in between that I've spoken about before, that's Conor's chance. Yes. Because he's going to have him. Once Khabib has pushed that nervous energy aside and just says, I don't respect you, boom, I'm on you, now you're down, that's when the fight's going to be Khabib's fight, when he doesn't respect the distancing. Conor is a master of distancing. So will Conor be able to keep that distance to keep Khabib at bay, or will Khabib just say, screw it right away, boom, I'm in your face, and this is the tone that I'm setting? That first opening 2 minutes is going to have my heart pounding. Absolutely.
I can't wait. I'll be at the desk, and we're actually going on location. So I'm going out on Wednesday for UFC tonight. I'm going to schedule to, hopefully they'll do these after the open workouts. I'm scheduled to talk to Conor and Khabib and Tony Ferguson for UFC tonight. Nice. And then, be out there working the desk and everything. So here's the thing. You know this because you get to train with him sometimes. I'm so glad Tony Ferguson is back, but I am nervous that it's this quick. And, he talked about, I guess, wanting to return to action 6 months after the injury actually happened or whatever. And I love his passion. I love Tony's work ethic. I love his lone wolf, outlook. I love it. I buy into all of the quirks and whatever. I'm down. But I'm a little nervous that it's too soon. But then I think to myself, well, he wouldn't accept a fight if he couldn't be ready, because every fight is too important. But it does make me nervous to see him back this quickly. That said, I still think, I always have believed in Tony's skill set, and I think he has what it takes to beat Anthony, even though Anthony is back to being old Anthony.
Yeah. What do you call it? You calling Anthony Pettis old, Karyn Bryant?
No. The old Anthony, the former Anthony, the Showtime Anthony, who's, who we lost for a little while.
Come on, I'm trying to sell the show, Karyn.
No. Anthony's not old.
Karyn Bryant calls Anthony Pettis an old man.
He's aging well, Alan. He's aging well.
I agree. He is seeming to be back to his old self.
Yeah.
He's been looking good again. Anthony's the more technical striker, but we've seen Tony Ferguson. Doesn't matter if he's not the technical striker. He just finds a way. His freestyle gets in there and puts guys away, like he did on Rafael dos Anjos and people like that. So I said this a lot about Anthony, but it's just the way I see him. He's a good, fluid striker, but he likes to trick people. Mm-hmm. He sets things up, and then he'll come with a question mark kick or a punch, kick, punch, things like that. He tries to trick you. And he has his way with people that aren't high-level understanding of the striking game, because he tricks you into something. That's how he lands his head kicks and things like that. So it makes me nervous against Tony because, Tony comes in, and Tony, what was that fight that the guy replaced Tony's opponent on 1 week notice?
Oh, Lando Venata.
I knew you were going to know it. Lando Venata. Remember when he knocked Tony down like twice?
Yes.
And we're like,
oh, yes, I do. I was like, what is happening right now?
Right. And so that makes me nervous because I feel like Anthony Pettis' way to win is to kind of do a Lando Venata fight. Throw some tricky stuff. Mm-hmm. When Tony's going too free flow and catch him with something, trick him to bait him to walk into something. Right. Because there are openings with Tony Ferguson. Tony Ferguson, on the other hand, his way to win is to not play the tick for tack game. You just got to go in there and say, I don't respect you. Yeah. I go in there. We've seen, I think the biggest hole that Anthony Pettis shows is that he's not quite as strong as some of these guys anymore in that division. And when people put him on the cage, he used to say, I remember this Anthony Pettis interview saying, I love being on the cage because now I have my grappling game plus a fence to support me. Yeah. So it's like I have more limbs.
Yeah.
That went by him. People now are taking him down and they're being too strong for him and they're holding him down. He's got a great submission game. Mm-hmm. Not sure if quite that he's going to catch Tony in something, but he's very, 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 very good on the ground. So I think Tony just says, I'm not going to play the tick for tack. I'm going to get in there. I'm going to be in your face. I'm going to do what Tony Ferguson does the most. I think Anthony Pettis needs to try to trick him and catch him when he's in the middle of something. It's another fight that I'm really excited for. I really, really like both guys. I'm siding with Tony because I just kind of think he's got that X factor of winning that he does against people that are better than him sometimes. And he's a buddy of mine. I got to go with a guy who I'm close friends with.
Yeah, I lean toward Tony in this situation as well. I feel like they're similar in their in that flashiness, in that creativity, right? In their ability to pull some cool stuff out of nowhere. But I feel like when it comes down to it, Tony's just better at that stuff now, you know what I mean? And how fast he can sink a darce. And just, I feel like I've always just really appreciated Tony's creativity. And also, I think he's got a better gas tank. You know what I mean? That's a dude who went 5 rounds in Mexico City with Rafael dos Anjos and was like breakdancing during the last round, you know?
Yeah, that's crazy.
So we have seen Anthony get tired. I mean, partly it was when he cut down to 45.
Cutting weight.
And partly it's when he's been fighting a wrestler who just, has been smothering him or whatever. But I do think Tony has a better gas tank. And I think he's going to have a reach advantage probably. Tony's got pretty long arms. You would know.
He's got really long arms.
Yeah.
Right.
So I feel like if Anthony, the thing Anthony had said after, he had so many title fights. And I remember he was saying like the last time he kind of found himself again, right? Because there was less pressure. It wasn't a title fight. He wasn't defending something. He wasn't, there was a freedom for him to come back and just fight and find the love of the game again. So I love that. And I love when if we can see an Anthony, if like the real deal Showtime shows up, we're going to have just like a ridiculous 5-round, like what the, you know what I mean? I can see this being, I have a lot of ideas, like it could be a really close fight. You know what I mean? It definitely could be really close with both of them being able to land on each other. But I also could see Tony, getting a submission, getting a Darce or something, because he's so crafty and he just seems to like be gifted at that.
Yeah. I mean, I would say you're right. I mean, if Tony's gonna land something, I feel like it would be the Darce. And I've seen Tony's had a lot of the 10th Planet guys, some high-level guys in there working stuff with them. Tony's not really a guard guy. I mean, I think he did get the triangle on Mike Lee, right. But that was a sloppy. Like Mike shouldn't have got caught in that. Or Kevin Lee. I'm sorry, I said Mike Lee.
Kevin did, right.
Kevin Lee.
Pettis beat
Chiesa. Yeah, I feel like that would be the best possibility. Get Pettis in a firefight, stun him, lock on that Darce when he's not ready. And that's kind of how he does it. He stuns people and just locks it on right away. He's got long, as you said, long arms, skinny arms, locks things in, and it's hard to get out of it. Going to be a fun fight. Yeah, I got to go with the way of Tony on this one.
Yeah, he's got those blades, the elbows, and all that. So, one thing I was doing some of my prep work, I want Tony to bring back the mohawk. Do you remember when he kind of had like the orangey, blondish mohawk thing for a while? Like, I think he should bring it back. That's my personal. I think El Cucuy needs to bring back the mohawk.
Yeah, he's been like shaving it close and everything lately.
Yeah. Hi, Cage.
Can I do my podcast? My son comes on right here with no respect at all. Did you just come and barge in? All right, let me do this. Come on.
So listen, otherwise, what are you looking forward to? I know the Black Beast is on the card. OSP's on the card. There's some good scraps on there. I'm bummed that we don't get to see Sugar Sean O'Malley. Hopefully he can work out, whatever happened with the supplement or the, whatever, and figure that out with USADA. Because he came into UFC tonight a couple weeks ago. He's a nice kid. He actually, is a pretty bright dude. Talking to him, I know he, walks around and he kind of looks like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo, and he's smoking weed and he's doing this and that. But the kid actually, he's not stupid. And so I had a nice conversation with him. He's a good kid. So hopefully they figure out what happened. But anytime you can see the Black Beast back in action, it's a good time.
I like the Black Beast. I gotta go, man. Okay, Volkov.
I know it's not
Kenny Johnson in this. Yeah, and Volkov's been kind of doing stuff at Black House. He's got Kenny Johnson in his corner. I see if Black Beast is able to get on top of Volkov, get him on the ground, I think he'll finish the show right there. I think if Volkov can kind of keep him at range, Volkov is a tall guy.
Real tall.
And if he can kind of keep him at range and kind of jab him, we might see the Black Beast at the fade or something. But I'm excited for that fight. I'm excited for the who was the other one we were just talking about as well? There was you were talking about O'Malley as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm waiting to see what happens with him because I was excited to see him fight. He's such a flashy guy. The UFC loves to promote him. He doesn't look like he's doing steroids, that's for sure. But I respect him. I like the comment that he had. He came out right away. We've seen guys, and I'm not trying to say names, but when something happens, they blame it on, eating different meats or different pills that they took, and they're very kind of, if somebody's accusing you of something, you come out right away and you say, look, I'm innocent. This was a mistake. I'm cooperating with them. This is what I took. They have the bottle. I will assure you that I will be innocent in a proven amount of time. I want to let my fans know I'm sorry that I'm not fighting, but this will come to a clear conclusion. And that's what he did. And so it really made me respect Sean O'Malley for coming out and doing that and proclaiming his innocence. And I would expect from his email or from the quote the statement that he put out, that he will come out innocent because he was so confident that that it was a mistake.
Yeah, I hope so too. So you're I'm going to be working the desk. It'll be the first time I catch up with the champ. I'll beat your ass. T Wood's going to be working with us. I'll beat your ass. I'll beat your ass. Yeah. So working with T Wood.
Might have a gold chain on in there. Right? Might have a grill.
Got the grill? That'd be hilarious. Yeah. Him working with T Wood and Bisbing. So I know we're going to have a great time. Like I said, I'm going out on Wednesday, doing some stuff for UFC tonight. Wade's going to, so we'll be filming all this stuff for MMA Heat. We'll have open workouts and media day and early weigh-ins, all that good stuff. So it's definitely going to be, Vegas fight weeks are always mental. And, especially a Khabib fight, especially a Conor fight, it's going to be crazy. But it's special, you know what I mean? And you do get that sense. Like, you get a sense of it being a different kind of event when you have guys on this level fighting. So I'm really looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to it. I hope you talking about how special and how big this event is going to be. You think about the crazy Irishmen that come and watch Conor fight, and they get drunk and they're celebrating and chanting in the in the in the arena, or like when in the concession stands. And I wonder, like you said earlier, is there going to be an equal amount of Khabib supporters and strong supporters in uniform, and then an equal amount of Irish supporters in uniform? And I wonder if there's going to be a drunken clash at some point. It'd be interesting to see what happens on the sidelines as well. I hope nothing too crazy happens, but I can see that happening for sure.
Yeah, I have a feeling they're going to really boost security up.
Yeah, they definitely need some added security for this event.
So you having a party at Allen's? Anybody in the Valley?
I'm having a fight party. Sorry guys, not everyone is invited, but we're going to be watching in my crib, having a couple of people over. I feel like, you know what? I feel like most of the times when I have a fight party, it's when Conor is fighting, because those are the big fights. So having one at home, watching it here. Nice.
And how's the recovery going with the neck?
Really good. I mean, like, honestly, I feel like I could fight soon. I know, it's only been 3.5 weeks or something, but man, I just went to the gym today. I was shadow boxing. I was doing footwork drills. I was doing this machine where you touch lasers and all kinds of stuff, and I'm healing really well, so I'm excited about it.
Awesome. Very good. Very good. Okay, so I feel, was there anything I'm forgetting? I don't think so. Again, just a reminder, folks, if they want to look for the Q&A with Michelle, that is already up on MMAHeat.com and on all our platforms, and we'll have a lot more content coming at you this week. On social media, on Instagram, I'm KB Heat. On Twitter, Karyn Bryant. YouTube, Karyn Bryant. And, and if you want to play it safe, folks, on YouTube, subscribe to Karyn Bryant and to MMA Heat, because we might be putting stuff in both places or whatever. And so if you just don't want to miss anything, it's wise to subscribe to both of those.
Absolutely. I'm Alan Jouban across the board, guys. I also have a YouTube channel, so check that out. And, man, enjoy. I hope you enjoy the podcast. I hope you enjoy the event. I'm sure we're going to get together, me and Karyn, in person after this event.
Yes.
We'll get together. We'll have a big show, a big fun show, break down everything, and I'm sure we're gonna have a lot to talk about. So I look forward to it.
Awesome. We'll either be drinking whiskey or vodka, right? Irish whiskey or Russian vodka. Which one is it gonna be?
I have Conor's whiskey. We're gonna have to see if we're drinking vodka possibly the rest of the event.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for watching, folks.
Take care, guys.